wrapped up in my sleeping bag, looking out the window at Aaron's house as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. And the trees are silhouetted black against the emerging blue sky with the fading stars up in the sky. And I think to myself how much I hate Aaron because he's got it fucking made with this fantastic house of his, this nice little piece of property tucked away out in the backwoods of South Dakota. God, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he dies of syphilis. You piece of shit.
We have a good opportunity to set the record straight because there's a very stark contrast, black and white, right versus wrong. I don't mean political right. I mean, like objective, like, no, you're lying. And especially as it pertains to you younger kids out there, because there's the old saying, someone's going to say it. You'll never really find it. What was it? It was Winston Churchill. So he was talking the British parties, not the American political parties, but basically, if you're under 30 and don't vote Democrat, you have no heart. If you're over 30 and don't vote Republican, you have no brain. And the whole point of that comment was that when you're younger, obviously, like everything else, it's all new. You don't know what's going on. You gotta learn the rules of the game. It's not even that you got to mature. You just have to experience the world and see how it really works. And then by a certain amount of time, you should realize all the free shit at no cost that the Democrats promise you. You know, the adult children that you hang out when you go to school, K through 12. When you go to school, there's another group of children you may not be aware of. They're called your teachers. And they've never left school, right? They've been in school since they were 5, either as a student or a teacher. They went to college to learn how to teach, and then they taught. And they never stepped foot outside of a school. That's all they know. And they teach you literally very childlike things. Like, oh, it'd be fun if things were free. Oh my God, you might be trans. Cut your penis off. You know, regular old teachers, right? Right, teachers? You're for that, right? Anyway, and it presents right political parties. I don't mean correct. I mean right-leaning, whether it's conservatives or Tories or whatever. The fact that left-leaning parties, Democrat or socialist parties, can promise you free shit and they have you and your kids in school gives the conservative or right-leaning Republican type of parties a disadvantage of trying to convince you young people that your teachers and the Democrats are full of fucking shit. Which you may not be convinced of just yet. You may still like the free shit. No, I'm just a fascist and a goose-stepping moron and all that other stuff. But like your teachers told you to think. Anyway, here's a great opportunity. A great opportunity to show you who's really on your side. So this article came out. It's not, the article is, it doesn't matter. The article is from The Guardian, which is a left-wing propaganda, worthless. They just spew Democrat leftist talking points. I think it was yesterday, the whole internet in the nerd video game world went ablaze because the White House or somebody made a meme using AI of Donald Trump dressed as a Master Chief with the armor on in Halo. And there's the US flag and he's saluting. Right? It's a meme. It's an AI generated meme. And I guess the White House used it or they liked it and they used it somehow to recruit for ICE. You know, they took it and they ran with it, which is Donald Trump's prerogative. You may not like that, but why not? It's marketing. Well, the left side of the video game world, if you can believe there's such a thing, right? In my day, when we had Atari and Nintendo, there weren't Democrats and Republicans. There was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers, and then later on GoldenEye, and then the original Halo. Even in the Xbox and the PS1 days, you know, we didn't have politics. It was, we better fight the flood. Let's play capture the flag. We had fun. Thank God the boomers back then did not put politics into our video games. Anyway, so I'll just read a little bit of the article here. We don't have to go all the way because it's hypocritical. Why Trump's White House is using video game memes to recruit for ICE. A recent spate of posts had garnered attention, but Trump and his allies have long been using gaming imagery to mobilize a toxic subculture of rootless white males. Ooh, scary. Oh, it's written by Alyssa Mercante. Of course it is. Of course it is. Okay, never mind. Oh, God. If you don't know who she is, she's just a propagandist whore. It's just, sorry. I don't mean she sells her body. I mean, she sells she advances politics. It's not an objective, unbiased analysis. I don't even have to read it. Right here, have long been using gaming imagery to mobilize toxic subculture, Trump, right-wing stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, let's set the record straight. It is not Republicans who are co-opting or abusing or leveraging or using video games to advance the Republican or conservative or Tory type of agenda. Just so you young people know, your video games suck because the Democrats ruined them. And I don't mean left-leaning people who work in the field, like, obviously creative people are going to lean to the left, right? So your video game developers in your store, right? They're going to lean to the left. No, I mean legit political parties, donors creating nonprofit groups to go and create left-wing Democrat, leftist, socialist propaganda, depending on which country you're in, to advance. And that's why it's gotten ruined. There was not Finland, Norway, the Norwegian taxpayer, via the Norwegian government. The government doesn't have money. It just takes it from the taxpayer. The Norwegian taxpayer paid some worthless, talentless hack to make a game called Dustborn. And it is anti-white, anti-American, anti-capitalism, anti-Trump, of course. It's just Marxist leftist propaganda. And of course, it was a shit video game on top of it. If you've looked at any kind of, Canada, there's the French Connection, I like to call it, because what was it? It was Ubisoft Montreal in cahoots with a government-backed, one of the Canadian MPs had a hand in the founding of an organization called Sweet Baby Inc., which is just this victim whoring shill quote company. Go look up Kim Belair, who want to shake down other video game companies. Like, you either hire us as consultants or we're going to accuse you of racism and sexism and discrimination and all, like Jesse Jackson did with his Rainbow Coalition. You guys are probably too young to remember that. And they even got the games, surprise, when the game is designed primarily to be Democrat propaganda, although Canada doesn't have a Democrat party. When it's designed to be Democrat propaganda, surprise, the game sucks. And that's government. And then what was it? The United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, I don't know his name. I don't give a fuck anymore. I used to know all the leaders of all the countries, and I don't care anymore. Keir, he's a Marxist fuck over in the United Kingdom. Of the United Kingdom, Labour, which is their Democrat Party, they have a UK video game fund. And if you go to their website, it's supposed to help United Kingdom program video games. Help you get started. Here's some capital. But it's all left-wing propaganda shit. And I wonder, like there's government food and government housing. Now we're expanding into the realm of government video games. You think they're going to be good? Government public school? You know how they make fun? Would you go to the public schools? You didn't go to a private school? What are we going to have next? Government music? What's next? What horseshit slop that's solely going to be for the purpose of serving left-leaning political parties, leftist parties, political parties in different countries? That's your propaganda. That's all it's going to be, is propaganda. But how's the quality going to be? It's going to be garbage. One, because it's not intended to be a good, fun game or piece of work or piece of art. And you also generally, when you have leftists, they're not talented people, because their whole modernly, back in the day, the Democrats and the leftists was the Labor Party. That's what we call it, the Labor Party. Now it's just the trust fund baby living off of welfare. I don't want to work for a living. Go look at CalArts. Go look at any modern day cartoon coming out now with Bean Mouth. There's your hard work ethic. One could even say the cartoon industry is being affected by this. But when the purpose of the video game is to serve as propaganda, the quality is going to suffer. And I think you guys get enough. Don't you get enough Democrat leftist propaganda from your teachers about Republicans evil and right? And the poor and this and that, and it's evil, the white males, and oh my God, the patriarchy. We don't have to go like with government or government adjacent or government funded entities. Look at your private sector companies. Recently, there was a game that came out called Ghost of Yote. All right. I love its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima. What did they do? They did what a score of different main large video game developing companies did. They took the hero, swapped it out, male for female. And of course, the woman's not attractive. And at the end, tell me I'm wrong. People have played it through. They said at the end, this is like 1800s, not 1800s, 1600s, 1700s period Japan. The end of the game is two lesbians are married and they're raising an adopted kid. What the fuck is that doing in a samurai video game in Japan? And yes, the Borderlands, they leaned left. To show you where they put way too much energy and money and resources in it, having it be political. Then they had to backtrack it as people got less woke and said, fuck your politics, get it out of our game. And then they have this game that's actual shit where the game itself could be good, but like there's no politics. It's just a fun game, but it doesn't work. Borderlands 4, I present to you. It is. And then we'll just, how many thousands of examples would you like where they took an attractive woman, made her ugly? Lara Croft, The Last of Us, Fable. That's where I found that picture. So bad that you had to have the Chinese go and get the license rights to create a Marvel video game. So they create a game called Marvel Rivals. And that's where the hot blonde on the thumbnail comes in. That's Sue Richards. She's part of the Fantastic Four. That's a communist Chinese. The CCP did that. The CCP is more in touch with what is good marketing than, quote, an American capitalist economy video game developer. But, you could say, well, that's something, guys, feminism is just the Democrat leftist socialist party with tits. That's all it is. That's all it is. But I want to point out, this is Rich coming from The Guardian and Alyssa McConaughey, of all people, saying that Republicans, and Donald Trump specifically, are somehow co-opting the video game industry for their political motivations, when the Democrats have been doing this for about 10 years, as far as I can tell, maybe 15. I'm sure if we find some obscure video game back in the day. But it sucks. It sucks for you kids, I mean. For 10 years, you haven't had a video game that doesn't have some kind of nagging Marxist harpy message from the Democrat Party. The Democrats are the ones that ruined your video games, both in terms of the both qualitative quality in terms of its propaganda. You don't want to hear it, right? Do you want to hear about Jesus saving everybody? We went through something similar, but it was on the right side of politics where you had the satanic panic and, we can't have Motley Crue. That's a satanic symbol. They're wearing makeup. That band Kiss there. You can't trust them. So this is way back in the day. Now it's the left trying to co-opt some kind of art aspect, some kind of segment of society that's artistic, video games. And they're doing it, by the way, they're doing it because they know young people play video games and they want to get you to vote Democrat or Labor or Socialist or whatever. They've ruined, I don't know, God almighty, heaven help you if you're a 10-year-old kid. You've not known good video games. Same thing with the movies. You haven't known good movies. I mean, I remember the day we had Back to the Future. You know how much politics was in it? None. I mean, we had Die Hard. You know how much politics was in it? None. Lethal Weapon? None. Now, everything you kids have, you've been denied one of the greatest things in a childhood, and that is movies and video games. It all has to be political messaging to get you to continue voting Democrat, leftist, socialist, Labour, or whatever with the programmies. Look it up. That's how they spell it over there in the second best English-speaking country in the world. And if you've looked at it, have you noticed how they made all the women ugly? Have you really? By the way, Democrats hate men. I'm not even being facetious about it. They hate men. They hate boys. That's why they don't want you to find women attractive. That's why you can't have pretty girls in your video games no more. That was never a big thing back in my day, though. I mean, like Laura Croft kind of came out, but she had her polygonal boobs. There was like something very explicitly sexual, which was Dead or Alive beach volleyball. There's like 3 or 4 those are like 20 years old now. But now you cannot have good-looking women in your video games. You cannot have a male hero in your video games. That's why you have Ghost of Yotai being a leftist. Well, not the character isn't leftist. The actress who plays it is Antifa, leftist, hate America, hate males, whatever. Standard fucking slop you're told to be. But if you're wondering who's on your side, you know, like the teachers have your ear the entire time you're a child, like a conscious child from 5 to 18. And they are going to lie and tell you all this horse shit that doesn't work solely to advance them and the Democrat Party, the Labor Party, whatever the leftist party is. That's why you're in school. But apparently that's not enough because now they got to go and get your fun too. I want to point out that despite you know, basically your mind and brain being monopolized by the Democrat Party, it's not the Republicans ruining your video games. Right? Now, the Republicans are not going to line up and, oh my God, the kids are amazing. We are the world. We are the children. Da, 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 da. They're not going to line up and sing your praises. But they're not going to fuck with your video games either. Because the Republicans don't want to fuck with your video games. The Republicans, you know what? Most Republicans and conservatives, libertarians, not Democrats, they just want to play a fun fucking video game. And I think at least the Republicans don't abuse children to turn them into little future voters of Republicans. I think most Republicans or conservatives and all that, no, just let the kids be, man. They don't have to get into this political bullshit. Boy, who's there at 7-year-olds saying, hey, kid, you might be a girl. Hey, you need to have this, you need to know that Democrats are good people. We're going to take this guy, we're going to get translated into a girl, and we're going to swap him out. Men are bad. Hey, your video games, you know, you shouldn't like good-looking girls. That's objectifying. How dare you find attractive women attractive? We're going to make all the girls ugly. They even banned the latest Dead volleyball or Dead or Alive volleyball. I think they banned that one in the United States, which is ironic because we're supposed to have free speech. I think that the latest version was only available overseas. Well, who's really against? Do you remember? You again talking to a younger audience. Facebook and Google, meaning YouTube, just admitted that the Biden administration was behind all the censorship, where you had the social media being censored and channels and accounts being taken down. That was Biden. It is also feminist, which again, I'm going to say it again, is the Labor Party / Democrat Party with tits that has gone and removed pretty women from your video games. They're the ones banning video games. And I don't want to ruin I don't want to ruin kids' childhood or teenagers' young childhood, young lives. But I wanted to point out, this is a bright light shining into you as to who your real, I want to say friends are, but who your enemies definitely are. The Republicans want to help you out, you know, but the whole idea of conservative or libertarian or Republican politics is, no, we're going to leave you alone. You're not our responsibility. I mean, kids are the parents' responsibility, but like, no, you take care of yourself. We're going to leave you alone. So it's not like they're your bestest of buddies. The Democrats try to get you to be, hey, I'm going to give you free shit and free this and free that, and you won't have to work, but you can't have pretty girls in your video games. You better vote for us. And if you don't, we're going to censor you. It tells you who your real friends are, or at least who your enemies are. And I swear to God, your enemies are the Democrats. They don't want you to have fucking fun. They can't leave. I mean, the Democrats can't leave kids alone. At a larger sense, you Democrats just can't leave these kids alone, can you? You got to imbue your fucking politics on these kids starting at the age of 5 when they're in kindergarten. And now you go after their fun. Now, despite what they say, women make up the fastest growing segment of video games. No, they don't. That's phone apps. It's not a video game. But to you young men out there, you young boys who are part of the video game industry, that's why they're targeting you. Because they're starting those boys aren't when grow up, become adults, and start voting. They realize that men are leaving the Democrat Party. And that's why they're targeting video games, because it's the new television, the new movies, the new books. And they want you to think the right way and vote for them. Now, I'm not going to go into the merits of voting Democrat or Republican here. I'm merely pointing out how far and to what extent Democrat and Democrat-type parties overseas will go to ruin your fun. They do not respect the right of a kid or young people or anyone, for that matter, to enjoy their fun. And they will ruin your books, your movies, your video games, your education, and everything so they can maintain power. Even going so far as to getting rid of attractive women in cute outfits. And I guess I'm going for like college age men. Like, hey, was it Republicans who did that? And I think the internet's getting it out there. I think so. So that's it. I just want to point out the Republicans, aside from a meme Donald to the White House co-opted, the Republicans are not actively involved in the industry of creating Republican propaganda and then presenting it to you as a video game. They may not be your friends, but they definitely are not your enemies. Let's go to the super chats. Hand clogs, $2. Cappy, the indie games are doing great or fine. Yeah, indie games are, because they're making games that people enjoy. There's no politics. Hand clogs, $2. American cartoons are on life support. Anime is king. Yeah, there's another example where foreign cartoons, anime, Japanese. Although most anime is garbage, but at least it's not political, right? But there's so much bad anime out there. But anime is, not to mention comic books, the manga is just trouncing. There's another perfect example. They ruined your comic books, but comic books aren't that popular. All comic books are just horseshit, trans, gay, bi, Marxist, leftist propaganda. That doesn't mean you have to be a Marxist if you're trans. It's just that they run together generally. And manga, which is comic books in Japan, are just, oh no, the space monkeys are attacking. It's way more fun. And then the cartoons, true. Like what cartoons, right? Wasn't Elio just the most low quality? And right, that's right. Elio was supposed to be gay, an 11-year-old gay boy. Disney, fucking Disney. Democrat company, by the way. Like, you really, Disney, you just can't. Like, when I was 11, we had Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. Everybody liked it. Minimalist Coyote, $5. Even a Red Dead 2, you had to help feminists vote for some nonsense. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't play that game. Once I had to start cleaning my horse, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Hat clogs, $2. Children still have some good video games. UWU. Artful Clone, $2. Play Deus Ex, Cappy. Best game ever made, though old. Hey, Booezy Bird. Welcome back, Booezy Bird. $5. Mainstream media is pushing the new anime movie Chainsaw Woman is manosphere propaganda. I don't. Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man. I don't care. What's funny is Netflix has been using the anime art style. It's not Japanese anime. It's Japanese anime style. And was it Devil May Cry? And it was all anti-capitalism, anti-America, anti-this bullshit. And it tricks you like, oh, that might be interesting. Like Castlevania 2 was like, Castlevania 1 was spectacular. It still had political messaging because, of course, the queens are lesbian. Of course. But I guess Castlevania 2 was just so rank propaganda, you couldn't watch it. You're going to forgive me if I step out on the anime. Until people start telling me it's the next Cowboy Bebop, I am avoiding anime because it's just the quality isn't there. In terms of the storytelling, art style is great. You just need like old school 80s writers to come in and help you out with that stuff. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Check out my book below. Enjoy the Decline. I will see you guys later. Toodles.